This, I've been thinking about the relationships between men and women, and how feminism has basically started to really push a massive wedge between the sexes, both in this country and especially in America, Australia, New Zealand. And I've been thinking that if this is what women are really looking for in the future, which is to control literally every aspect of men's lives. I mean, we already have, divorces in the favour of women. If you look at the school system, 80% or more of primary school teachers in the UK is female. If you look at the NHS, I think 80%, maybe more, are female. If you look at the universities, 60% of female graduates or going to university are female. If you look at the private school system, 47% of the private schools in the United Kingdom are girls' schools, 36 are boys' schools. So what feminism has done is a really good propaganda campaign to demonize men and men in society. And I've been thinking to myself over the last couple of years, since 2012, when I took the red pill, I realized that I think if in the future someone produces an autonomous female android, and the same thing, a male android, this will spark the end of male and female relationships. And the reason being is this: the way in which women today behave with especially when it comes to abortion, no consultation with the person that they had a relationship with, on whether he would like to have that child or not. Now, it doesn't matter whether he says, yeah, have that abortion. But in many cases, many men are not getting the option of saying, let's have that child or not. So he doesn't, and you're hearing of things like women are saying that, oh, you're just a sperm donor. That's all you are. You're of no other use other than that. Even though you look outside, or even in the building that you're sitting in, was built by men. 99% of buildings, especially in the UK, were built by men. There may be the odd female brickie, the odd female electrician. I have never seen one. I've seen a female plasterer, and I've seen a female painter, but I've not seen any more than that. So my view is this: within the next 50 to 100 years, that's if the planet hasn't been blown up, or certainly, I mean, this planet will be here for another 4 billion years. So man will come and go, and I believe that man has come and gone. There have been civilizations on this planet before, but there were hundreds of millions of years ago, and they died out. We have no evidence of it because of the amount of time and passage that's gone. But I believe that within the next 50 years, we will have autonomous androids that will be organic based. In other words, Blade Runner, replicants that will be basically look exactly like a human being. And what this will mean is that men will be able to buy one of these or hire one of these, or even and have a relationship with one of these that will behave like a real organic woman without all the palaver that you get today. Now you might say, well, will they be able to produce children? Don't need to. Well, maybe they will do. Because at the end of the day, while there isn't an official female egg bank, but there are loads or quite a few sperm banks, both in America, in Britain, and the rest around the world. But I don't know how many female egg banks there are in the world. It's very common for sperm banks to be around, but not female egg banks. So maybe in the future, what will happen is that women will be paid for their eggs, and they will be in a bank. The sperm that will be collected by the android will be taken to that particular clinic with instructions. This is the kind what we want. I want a girl or a boy. I want a Chinese woman or a black woman or a white woman, whatever. And then that egg would be chosen, infused with the sperm, and then that child will be brought up in, I don't know if you see the film Superman with Russell Crowe in. Superman was the first naturally born child in a generation or something like that on Krypton. And so his mother actually gave birth to him rather than being born in a sack. Okay. And that's what will happen in the future. Children will be produced in a sack so that women will not have the need to give birth. So once that happens, and if we have an android, and the same thing with women, if they have an android male, they won't have the need to have an organic male, and men will not have the need to have an organic female as such. But I think it will be stronger in men to have this organic female than it will be for women. After all, you can have an autonomous android that will be exactly how you want it to be. And unlike, because at the end of the day, the unfortunate thing is that women expect men to read their minds on how, you know, what they're thinking, what they feel they enjoy in the way of sex. If you look at that gentleman, I can't remember his name, I think the Indian guy, or Asian guy, sorry, where the girl wrote a letter that she wasn't happy with the way in which the night of sex that she had with him, and she, you know, she felt violated by him, and she wrote a massive essay about what had happened, and that she'd given off indications that she didn't particularly want to do so. She didn't say no, she just gave off non-verbal indications of her discomfort, which the guy didn't pick up on. I've forgotten his name. Why go through all that nonsense? Seriously. Why should men have to go through all that shit and crap? You see, there are over 400 or more sexual toys, and the vast majority of them are for women. But there are now sort of these latex female, what they call it, full, you know, literally lifelike-ish female doll or sex dolls that have come out, and there was one that I couldn't think could speak, and the guy was a white guy and his wife was an Asian girl, a woman. I'm not sure if she's from the Philippines or Thailand, but the funny thing is the wife didn't have any objections at all. He had kids, and but yet the feminist movement came running out and screaming and shouting about it, said it was harmful to women. The only thing harmful to women about it is that, certainly in the West, is it could be that men will eventually turn their back on women and actually go towards this autonomous robot. I mean, it hasn't come about yet, but just imagine you can get an organic android that can talk, walk, move around very similar to a woman, and do the things that you want, and it will do it with pleasure. No moaning, no arguments. You'll have a conversation with it, backwards and forwards. This will be beneficial to women in the long run. They will get on with, they won't have to have the need to have children. As I said, and also the thing as well, in the future, we may be able to clone ourselves. So in other words, because you see the live thing of the egg and the sperm is the sperm. The sperm is actually alive and actually is moving. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to make its way to an egg. So the sperm is alive. So you could maybe in the future produce and it will be a male from the sperm. Okay, and so therefore you will have a pure male that could be what do you call it, cloned or brought to life, and a pure female from the female egg, with perhaps a protein that's similar to the sperm, because there was a woman who was experimenting on that, and she was experimenting on lizards, female lizards, who can actually produce female baby lizards without an interaction from a male lizard. And she was experimenting with this process when her funding was cut, and quite rightly so. Her argument was she was actually trying to find a way to help men in the future. But the reason why it was stopped was clear. If you have a process that only produces females from a protein that will not come from a sperm, you could have well, it won't ever really happen, but whereby, just picture this scenario, that women would not necessarily have relationships, okay, would then go to this clinic, get this protein inserted into the egg, and then a female child will be born from there. And then you would only have female-only children. And the way in which people are behaving today, nobody would certainly, no one would really not object. There would be people who would object to it, but the majority of people would keep silent for fear of putting their opinions across and somehow getting vilified and run out of town. This is already happening in society. James Moore is an example, and even there are people who are working in Google now who have exactly the same view as James Moore, but dare not come out and say their opinion. They're keeping quiet. So we men have held women on a pedestal as the most beautiful thing in the universe. What I'm saying is that many women out there need to be very careful. The metoo movement is an example where all men are being vilified, and when it's a small proportion of men who are doing these things. You see, in life, everybody has some form of problem, generally. Someone's got a bit of cancer. Someone's got a bit of bowel cancer. Someone's got a bit of stomach problems. Someone's got this issue, that issue. Life is not a bed of roses, you know, and you have to work through your life and not try not to be a victim. And I believe there are so many very good and sensible, logical women out there, but there is also a hell of a lot of evil feminists, quite frankly. That's what they are. They're evil, and they've permeated themselves to within the government. The reason why they've been able to do that is because of the fact that feminism has aligned itself to Satanism. Okay. And there are many powerful organizations and people who are also Satanists. And that's in the government. And that's the reason why feminism has been able to gain these positions look at the education system. Feminists use and hit men over the head with this constant that men are sexist, men are objectify women every single day, etc., etc. And yet, domestic violence, this is another example where we hear this: 1 in 5 women in the world is domestically, abused. But there was a statistic in Australia that I saw that 35% of domestic violence were committed by women to men. And the figures could actually be higher than that. But again, a lot of men will not come forward because of embarrassment. Maybe in the future, more and more men will come forward. But there's a rule in the UK, ruling that came out that any and it was specifically aimed at men, could also be put into prison, not for physical violence, but for psychological violence to a woman. But what about the other way around? That wasn't mentioned. That wasn't mentioned. And I heard that on one of the radio shows in the UK called LBC. I think someone touched on that and said, but this is not just about women. What about men who had psychological violence from women? They get abused verbally and get put down. But nobody ever talks about that. The phrase henpecked, there are a lot of women out there who do verbally abuse their husband and put their husband down and demean them. But as a bloke, you're supposed to take it on the chin and just get on with it. But if it's done to a woman, the man is seen as a sexist, a misogynist, a hater of women. So this is what I'm talking about. That this is getting tiring for a lot of men, and that there will come a time when these androids will be produced, and that men will not have relationship with organic, so-called real women, but will buy or will have a relationship with an autonomous robot that will look and feel like a woman. That would be very, very interesting. Where will women be once they start seeing autonomous robots walking about, female and male? Men won't be bothered. I mean, if women get autonomous men, robot males, they won't be bothered, because we're not held up to that kind of standard. But I'm sure that women will be pissed if they see an android, female android, that is literally perfect in looks, in body shape, in everything. And they will look at that and they think, I can't compete with that. I believe that this will happen in the next 50 years. And it will affect women more than it will be men. Men will love this because it will mean that it can be programmed exactly how they want it to be. And I think the feminist movement will hate these. The feminist movement have already hated. I think I say that particular guy who was on. I think he was on the Good Morning Britain, or Peter or Mr. Schofield, that idiot. He was on his show, and there was the feminist movement don't like these particular dolls because they're saying that they're dangerous. Men will use them, and then they'll desire because real women, because they won't quite satisfy them and all this kind of business. I think it's nonsense. I think there's a lot of guys out there who would, if they were cheaper, would have one of these hanging up in their wardrobe. And there are already these kind of type of sex toys out there that female torsos or male torsos, and there's a lot of people seem to be buying them. But the relationship between men and women today is going to deteriorate even more. You see, this is the point. Men are the perfect working machine. They don't have morning sickness because they don't get pregnant. They don't have periods because they don't produce children. They don't, bear children. They don't, which is once a month for a lot of women. They don't have all these issues, and that's the reason why you see the statistics in the workplace, certainly in the office-based workplace. Men do 14 hours more than women do. I think, is it per week or per month? It's probably per month. Let's say per month. The fact that 93% of workplace fatalities in the workplace are men. Men who die at work. 93%. So literally only 7% of women die at work. Why? Because the majority of men die doing dangerous, dying at dangerous jobs. And nobody talks about this. 97% of men die who are in the army, and the deaths are men. Anyway, I just feel that the future of men and women, once these androids start becoming reality, women will have to decide what they want. Maybe they'll be happier with an android, like men will be happier with an android. Because I'm a believer, my personal belief is I think that there should be more of a separation. We need to have boys and girls schools. We need to have trains, for instance. We need to have separate carriages for men and women. I'm sure that everyone will be much more happier. If we had a blue train and a pink train, and then we have a neutral train where the men and women can get on. I would, because Corbyn has said, he would support a female-only carriage. Well, I want a male-only carriage as well. I think that would be great to have a male-only carriage. In Japan there was a male-only carriage, and one of the Japanese, a Japanese man got on and sat down because I think the other carriages were full, and he came and sat down, and then one of the women got up and started shouting at him. He needs to get off this. This is a women's only carriage, and then the female member started going at me, and he said, "Why? Why should I give up this? Where is the male only carriage? Where is the male only carriage? And also, the money that I pay to your company is paying for this female only carriage." Because at the end of the day, women aren't paying any extra for it. They pay the same price as everybody else. Anyway, I've just put my little rant there. Anyone got any views on it? Let me know. Thanks a lot for listening.